right.
So, yeah, we're going to do a little pitch for you guys.
Okay. Synesthesia is defined as the mixing of the senses. What we hear and what we see are the two most important aspects of representational art. From garage bands to Coachella headliners, every musician is attempting to connect with their audience in two significant ways, with their sound and with spectacle. Our software, Synesthesia, combines the two.
Synesthesia is an environment for developing and displaying cutting-edge visuals that react to live music in real time. With our software, you generate visuals by simply performing your music as you already do. For each musical action, there's a visual reaction. And as you collaborate with Synesthesia, you create something that could never be captured in just a recording. You are creating an audio-visual experience that's live, in the moment, visceral, and full of life, just like you.
Our company is Gravity Current Incorporated. We are attempting to be part of the movement that brings that gives classical instruments digital intelligence and gives digital instruments classical life. From the Wiimote to the Kinect to the Oculus Rift, we can see that there's a fundamental change in the way that we interact with computers. Gravity Current is dedicated to bringing that same change to music.
So, Synesthesia is the logical starting point for us. Who we are as people is integral to why we're developing this product. My name is Theron Prey.
And my name is Joe Brown.
And we graduated from Carleton College in June 2014 with a degree in physics
and computer science.
And we're also musicians. We were in a band together in college, and we wanted to perform with live reactive visuals. And we ended up having to hack together this like popsicle sticks and glue version of Synesthesia because we couldn't get the level of reactivity we wanted from any other product on the market. And we performed a number of times under the name Pyroclastic Flow, and it was a hit.
So we realized that our problem is not unique. Millions of musicians want to be able to express their music in more terms than just their sound. They want to be able to have visuals that react live and sort of define their music in a visual sense. And during our interviews with artists, we found that you can't actually get that with the software that currently exists. So there are currently two types of solutions on the market for this pain that artists have.
So timeliner programs are a pretty popular and accessible solution. It's pretty easy to get one of these and get something up and running quickly, but the limitation is baked into the archetype. Timeliner programs rely on video clips, and video clips, no matter how you layer or add filters to them, are fundamentally difficult to add life to with live input. At some point, you have to press play and let it run. Furthermore, these programs don't have great options for sound and MIDI input. They're really video editors at heart. They're not about generating content, they're about remixing it. So, if you took one of these and put in like 100 clips with a bunch of kind of meticulously placed effects, you can achieve a show that looks fully reactive and live to whatever song or set you're playing. But at the end of the day, it's just an elaborate script. And if that kind of complexity is your game, you might as well use one of these other types of programs.
So the second archetype of program that exists is what I would call a switchboard program. So switchboard programs allow you almost limitless flexibility and almost limitless computational power. They allow you to use and code in digital audio analyzers. They allow you to code live visual effects. And many of these things are the types of things that we want to achieve. But you pay a hefty price for this. You have to write all this code yourself. So a musician is not a software engineer, at least not your typical one. And it takes someone who is a software engineer to look at this and tell what's going on. So I can look at this piece of software and I can say, okay, these lines are things I recognize as something that comes out of the Microsoft Kinect. But in terms of what visuals are going to be coming out of this, your guess is as good as mine. And what I see here is artists going to great lengths to solve a pain that they have. So it proves two things to me. There really exists a pain for creating live visuals that go along with your music, and artists are really willing to turn to these inconvenient workarounds. So you can see even the author of this code does not actually understand what is going on with it.
So this is where synesthesia comes in. It's 100% live musical analysis with real-time generated visuals. That's the back end. The front end is plug-and-play functionality with drag-and-drop user interface. By combining that, you get a really powerful piece of software that's also intuitive.
So we use a lot of algorithmic power. So we take in audio streams, MIDI streams, and open sound control streams and analyze them all together. Under the hood, there's a lot of algorithmic power running synesthesia. And that allows you to take multiple instruments and multiple musicians and sort of take all of their input and map them logically to data output. And what's important about all of this power that we've gotten is how are we going to visualize it? How are we going to get it? So we've got all this data that we've gotten. Where does it go? It goes to visuals that can handle it.
So visually, we go way beyond the filter. The synesthesia engine runs what we call scenes. Scenes are worlds, almost like video game levels, that are developed by artists for musicians to play in. So some of these are abstract, some of these are dioramas, some of them are more like just data visualizations. They all have a unique aesthetic, and the musician chooses how they want their music to interact with the world. And it's all generated in real time. There's no pre-recorded content you're pressing play on.
And it's easy. You get to have all of the power of our advanced algorithms and all of the power of our engine with the press of a few buttons. You can start up synesthesia, grab your instrument, select the scene, and you're playing, and there's live reactive visuals within 30 seconds.
So, we're selling synesthesia for $300, and it'll have 20 scenes built in by default. After release, we're going to be continually developing more of these scenes with well-known graphic artists and putting them up in an online marketplace that can be accessed from inside synesthesia. We're going to be selling these in packs of 4 for $20. So from the graphic artist point of view, these scenes are a new way for them, for their art, to interact with music. So it's kind of a significant thing for them, something they want to put their name on. For a musician, this represents a way for them to support their favorite artists, get customized content, and a way for them to basically collaborate with this artist every time they open up one of those scenes. So we have a couple compatible models that we're looking at, like a brandable version of synesthesia that you can put a club's name up on, selling it to venues. We have a subscription model, and also we're eventually looking up to expand this online marketplace to user-generated content as well.
So what does our market look like? Record sales are down, and that's actually a good thing for us, because as record sales go down, the demand for live music goes up. So over the last 5 years, we can see that the number of venues and the revenue by festivals has been increasing steadily. The electronic music industry is estimated to be worth $6.2 billion, and live music is representing a bigger and bigger chunk of that pie. But this really does go beyond just an economic trend. Live music and spectacle is part of human culture that's been around forever. It's not going anywhere, and all we're doing is iterating on it with modern computational power. What's the name? Beatport. So Beatport lists over 200,000 signed electronic musicians. And for every signed electronic musician, for every big name, there are thousands of casual musicians who are just putting on shows for their friends. And so we are looking at a market of millions of people who are unable to create the sort of visual experience that they want to go along with their music. And this is frustrating for them, and we've seen as much in our interviews that we've had with several artists. And what it keeps coming back to is that people want visuals to go along with their music, but they don't see any way to do it with the software that currently exists.
So here, Brendan described to us like his dream visual setup, and then ended by saying it wouldn't work. He would be too focused on performing his music to have this visual show running as well. He would need to hire someone else to run that part of the show. Here we talked to Jake. He's the leader of a math rock band, and he was saying that, we asked him, why don't you have visuals? After he expressed to us that he would love the idea. It's that he said he didn't even know where to start. It would be awesome, but he'd probably have to hire a visual engineer to get the quality of visuals that he wanted. And then finally, we talked to Nikki. He's a funk saxophonist. We asked him, so would you make visuals yourself, or would you hire someone? He said he didn't have the time to split between practicing his instrument and getting into developing his own visuals.
So for us, synesthesia is the clear answer. So we got serious about this project 6 months ago when we moved to Austin. What we've done since then is we've created a functional deployed prototype that's now in the hands of a lot of test users who are giving us useful feedback that we can build on. In terms of our core engineering team, we're done. We have a third engineer who's moving out in July, who's going to be joining our team. He's moving from LA, and we're excited to have him on board. And what we're also excited about is synesthesia will be on the stage in a couple of days. It's going to be on Saturday, and we'll give you more details about the show at the end, and it's open and you're all welcome to come.
So these are our upcoming milestones. We're looking to bootstrap it until the fall and develop a beta release that can be publicly usable. And once we have that beta, we're looking to launch a crowdfunding campaign and with a goal of $60,000. And the $60,000 goes towards marketing and development of synesthesia so that we can launch Synesthesia 1.0 at South by Southwest next year. So we don't need significantly more funding to achieve our goals. We think our crowdfunding campaign will be a huge success. We bootstrapped it this far. So basically what we need is to expand our connections. We just need to get some more people involved in the project. So if you guys know any musicians, artists, engineers, mathematicians, PR guys, business gurus, basically who you think would be interested in the project, if you guys have any suggestions, or if you guys yourselves are interested in joining a young startup that's looking to revolutionize the world of live music visualization, definitely come talk to us or send us an email, because we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh no, okay. You have the beta out. Is there any like screenshots or demos or not?
Yeah, we have so we have some screenshots up on our website, and yeah. So basically, we have about 5 different visual scenes you can load right now. We have access to MIDI data and audio data. We have the current UI functionality is sort of
in an alpha prototype stage.
So you have to know the program to be able to use it, basically. But we have visuals that are responding to audio and MIDI inputs, and we basically kind of hacked a different version of this together for this upcoming show on Saturday. So, do you have anything?
Yeah, the other thing to add is that the alpha version of the software's engine is written in pure OpenGL. And pure OpenGL is not going to be the underlying structure of the engine going forward. We're going to be looking towards one of the major video game engines in order to produce the visuals that we want.
So where are the visuals coming from if you're performing at a venue? Do they have to have some sort of previous setup for you, just like getting a projector or
Yes, there needs to be a projector or a screen in the venue. From what we've seen, this is fairly common. In large setups, there are almost always LED screens behind the artist, and then in small venues, there are usually projectors.
Yeah.
So what do you do when, so the artist has to basically say ahead of time, don't hire a light engineer for my show. I already have it set up. It's via projector.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes if the artist is small enough, or they're just like playing a club that has its own thing going, the artist has to say like, okay, I'll let the club do its visual setup. But if, basically we're opening this up to anybody with a projector. You could literally like use this program on the wall of your garage. And it is often the case with like, I mean, with any sort of venue that like is respecting the artist more, if you come in with visuals and say, I have a visual show,
They'll be happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that means that they get to save money. They don't have to hire a VJ. They don't have to like hire somebody to actually produce the visuals. And it's not basically just a splash screen with a logo that's pulsing with like the bass and the snare.
Okay.
Have you guys thought about branching into DMX?
Yes, we have. The primary directive is to look into producing something that works with a monitor type of interface. But I would like personally to be able to branch into DMX. DMX is not one of our specialties as two people, as between us.
Yeah, we've never played with it before.
So one of the types of connections that we're looking for in our mentorship is people who can say, DMX is extremely important. This is how DMX is generally set up. And then we as engineers can dive in, look it up, and set it up.
Sure. But yeah, so I mean, the same audio MIDI algorithms we have to interact with our visuals, we can map those to lights, lasers, fire, what have you, down the line.
Yes.
How are you guys doing the music analysis?
Well, I guess it's one of those, if we told you, we have to kill you sort of things. I mean,
it seems like a pretty hard musicology problem to solve.
Right.
It is. So what we're doing is we're concentrating on feature analysis within the song. So when you're listening to a specific instrument, in an ideal case, you have the ability to listen to the pitch. We have some good algorithms for pitch so far, and we have some good algorithms that we recently did a bunch of correlation math between tons of simple digital signal processing algorithms, and then you take features that have high correlation differentiation between different sections of a song, like say an overdriven section, or a section where they're quiet, or a section where they're playing staccato or legato notes, and you can do that. Later down the line, I don't know how far I should be going into this.
Well, we're gonna have to kill all of you now.
Right.
I hope you know that. I'm sorry, but yeah. I mean, another key element that separates us from other things out there is that we have MIDI, OSC, and audio coming from different instruments, recognizing which ones are coming from each one. And it actually hasn't been done yet, combining MIDI and sound into one algorithm that's looking at both to get a really good idea of what the artist is doing. Where MIDI key presses, I mean, well, you guys all know that. So, yeah.
First of all, was this really your first presentation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thanks.
Really, really good job. You guys memorized part of this too, right?
Yeah.
What a part of this.
Yeah.
It's great. Really good. I had a question on the, long-term view on the marketplace aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Would you guys ever explore, say I don't have a band, but imagine I have a band and there's a certain look and aesthetic I want.
Mm-hmm.
Could I put it out there to your world of graphic designers and be like, this is what I'm looking for and I'm willing to bid on it, or?
Yes. So that's an interesting spin on the user-generated marketplace that we're spitballing. Well, I guess I don't have to go to a slide that tells you that. Anyway, so one of the potential ideas, first of all, we are in a formative part of the business. We understand that our business model is going to change over time. But something that we are totally willing to explore is the idea of allowing users to submit an idea to the community general, and then having the community general provide like a visual pack back with the understanding that that visual pack will be available to you, the person who requested it, for an initial fee. And then it'll also be available as a general pack, as part of general packs of DLC to everyone else. So that fits into our part of the profit.
Yeah. So I think one thing is, at least at the beginning in terms of marketing, like we'll probably try to work with some artists. I mean, for right now, like for this upcoming recital, which actually, so this is like, I mean, so right now we're in the stage where we're like working closely with a musician and giving them a custom thing because we're trying to get our name out there, get it up on stage, get feedback. So down the line, I am looking at it more like, so what I think is that the Synesthesia engine will be accessible from a, basically like a way to build the graphics.
And so what we're doing right now is the engineers are working directly with an artist. Down the line, what we're looking to do is much more of the musical artist talks with the graphical artist section of the team / section of the marketplace. And those are the people that work it out through the engine.
I'm a musician and a designer.
Nice.
And so what I would say to you is skip having an in-house artist and go straight to crowdsourcing, because you're gonna work yourself into a corner by having one person who's really good at one aesthetic.
Right.
And then, they're gonna deviate from that. And if it's not what you do, if it's not like your motivation, like you can get graphics that are cheesy as hell because somebody is not motivated by that kind of graphics.
So one thing is we're going to have a team of developers that are going to work with a bunch of different artists. So people that are already known for making music visualizers.
Whom we actually have been talking to, one of which is very interested in the outcome of our show.
So getting them to like develop a scene or 5, put their name on it, they're probably psyched about that. And then and working with a bunch of different ones. So we bring a lot of aesthetics, because obviously we don't want to be pigeonholed into one aesthetic.
Right.
And I mean, especially we're calling this art. So if it's going to be something like that, then it would, we don't want to be like kitschy.
You can cut a lot of overhead by sourcing it, and then people are compensated for, for what sells, and like it's up to them to make good quality product. And if they don't make the cut, then it's on them, and you guys don't look like asses because you guys didn't produce it.
Okay. All right.
You should check out Experiment Engine.
Okay.
They do that same kind of thing, but for design. But you can take their model and apply it to this, exactly what you guys are trying to do.
What type of design?
So they do, it's A/B testing. So I can put up my website or your website and be like, we need help on XYZ.
Okay.
And they throw it out to their marketplace of experts.
Okay.
And then the experts kind of duke it out and say, give a proposal and be like, this is what I spec out. And then whoever wins gets paid.
That is a cool idea.
Yeah.
All right.
They're an Austin-based startup. I can introduce you guys.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
So it sounds like you guys have sort of 3 different pricing levels, maybe one for like the Kanye West or Lady Gaga's that want to have like a stadium tour with crazy visuals.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have your like mid-level musician that plays like decent clubs in Austin and tours. And then you have your like 18-year-old at home and does shows with like his friends at small parties or house parties or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So have you guys thought about like breaking that down for different types of people? And
so we've been looking at the 18-year-olds are the people that we're looking at for a subscription model.
Okay.
So obviously the subscription model that we're looking at is probably going to be between $10 and $20 a month. And 18-year-olds, it's the kind of thing that they'll probably pay for 1 or 2 months and then pirate the software inevitably. But at least there's some money coming in from that audience, and it gives us traction and name recognition.
Don't ever say that to investors.
I won't.
So we're actually like, you know, if you're a gigantic name, you probably already have your visual act figured out. You probably have a full-time VJ, who's running your whole video show, who can generate specific content for you. You might even be paying like $100,000 to get specific video content. So we're trying to kind of undercut that. We're trying to be something that can open up to the general market of musicians who see that and want that, but have absolutely no way to get it right now.
Have you guys thought about, sorry, I didn't raise my hand. Have you guys thought about marketing directly to clubs and saying, hey, you know, I have this thing? Because I think a lot of bands don't really care what's behind them. Like I don't, you know, at all, but I'm sure that my crowd would love it. So, you know, use your good judgment and like put something behind me. And you could definitely like tier that up above your, you know.
Right. So we're looking at like something that can even be brandable. So you can put up the club's name in certain scenes. And yeah, definitely like some sort of premium version that's supposed to be like replace your VJ, kind of.
Which would basically be a very large either subscription or larger lump sum that includes a vast quantity of DLC.
So with the idea that it's all like plug and play, like you set it up and you just run it every night. It's ready to go.
To kind of piggyback off that last comment, it seems like, and it's very smart that your kind of beachhead is the EDM circle. However, you know, a couple of months ago, I went to see this band called Bombay Bicycle Club at Emo's, and they had an awesome light show behind it, like exactly what you guys are doing. Where it was like really cool little videos and stuff like that, synced up with the music, and it made the show exponentially better, and everyone was talking about it. So there's even a possibility of a whole world of bands and genres that don't know about what a big impact visuals can add to their show. And so you have a big opportunity to kind of get that crowd interested in visuals.
Right.
The problem that we have right now, and the reason that we want to bring especially somebody who's like a marketing type of person, a PR type of person onto the team, is that we don't want to be going out there and telling people how to reinvent themselves. So the nice thing about the electronic music scene is that the electronic music scene already has this innate understanding that people love big flashing synchronized lights that go along with their show. And I firmly believe that all music could be improved by having these types of visuals, by having our types of visuals behind them. But we don't know how to reinvent and tap that market at this time.
Well, so one thing is that so like, you know, we take MIDI data, OSC, and audio, right? And so that seems like it kind of makes it so that we're only targeting laptop musicians. But like, for instance, this first act we're doing is just with a violinist. And we're like putting a mic in front of his amp. He's an electric violinist, but it's still like an analog audio stream. It's not MIDI data. And so we definitely are gonna bring like the audio algorithms. They're gonna be good enough that you don't have to have MIDI or OSC to still take full advantage of our product. And so I think we could definitely tap into, I mean, like psych rock is obviously there, but like we can definitely tap into more like, you know, analog music as well. Yeah, I think that's definitely
start hitting up psychedelic bands.
Yeah, I think that's like an obvious place to start.
Yeah, go to Leviathan, maybe do it.
The what?
Leviathan? Is it it used to be Austin Psychfish. I think it's like Leviathan.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah,
I saw this weekend or next.
Yeah. I saw a poster about that.
All right.
I was like,
time for another crunch week.
Yeah,
When you see like a show with like huge visual effects, like I went and saw I think it was Godspeed to the Black Emperor and 9 Inch Nails.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, they do crazy stuff.
9 Inch Nails.
I'm still talking about the visual show,
Right.
like with all my buddies, you know, just because like, I mean, 9 Inch Nails is getting old as shit now. So it wasn't that good of a live show, but the visual show was so phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
they
like,
probably
it's still,
paid a pretty penny.
Oh yeah, there's YouTube videos that talk about how much they spent millions of dollars for their light show.
Right.
But you're making it a night. You know?
Yeah.
But point being, that sticks with people.
Right. Cool.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
missed the first 3 minutes, so I probably missed this. What's like the interface? Like, is it a hardware interface or a mobile?
No,
It's a software.
Yeah,
interface.
so it's your laptop.
Okay.
It's any laptop, well, any OS X laptop right now. But yeah, you just need an audio stream from either every musician on stage would be ideal, but you can just give us one audio stream and your MIDI data.
And then what if you have like a more sophisticated or advanced band or venue that's kind of been around for a while and has a video guy already, and they don't really plan on getting rid of him, and he doesn't really see his job disappear?
Yeah.
Do you guys have like plans for some sort of advanced platform where they can kind of like custom analyze it on the fly and do some cool stuff?
So the great thing about the scene generation and the world generation is that you don't have to just have synesthesia do all of the work for you. While we plan on making it so that synesthesia can do all of the work for you, if you want to add your own custom flair to the visuals, if you want to sit there and be a dedicated person and like switch between scenes, just like a VJ, or just like you want to be the controller of the mood instead of, an advanced algorithm tracking, a feature of the song, you can absolutely do that. And due to our price point, we're actually priced cheaper than many of the solutions that are already out there. Software such as Resolume Arena, which is one of the most popular pieces of software that VJs use, is priced at over $1,000. And so it would not be a stretch at all to go to a VJ and say, hey, look at this piece of software. It gives you way more powerful visuals, and it gives you even more control over something that you already like doing.
Yeah.
And it's 100% replaceable. Like, you can replace Resolume with this piece of software, 100%.
So we've actually been working with a VJ. I talked to him and told him about this, and then kind of realized like our current model kind of puts you out of a job. And so I've been talking to him about like how we can make it good for VJs too. And one of the things he mentioned was tablet control. That's how he does all of his art live and makes it reactive. So we're definitely looking to implement just like controlling the scene basically with a tablet.
Which relevantly is by OSC. That's how most of those controls are done.
Awesome. Well, great job, guys. Really, really impressive.
I have one more question comment.
Sure.
We need a presentation. Next time you do a presentation, you guys gotta plug in and play for us.
Yeah, I know. We didn't have enough time. This is like a crunch week leading up to the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely do like a live demo.
Yeah,
it's
for one of the next
perfect
events,
for
you guys should definitely
what
come
we're
by
doing.
and bring a video or just do a live one.
Yeah, we'll do a live one.
Everyone needs to go out and see the show this weekend.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you
Oh, yeah,
press
that's-
that one more time?
Yeah, the slide is no longer up.
If you want, you can
so-
just write it up on the whiteboard there.
Sure thing.
If you can send me an email or just post it up on the Meetup page, we'll make sure that people, at least the people who didn't come.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's open to the public. It's this violinist who I met at Looper's Night, which is this cool event that was down in South Austin. It was just like a bunch of, just a bunch of like loop artists. Cello, violin, bunch of drummers, and like guitar with a, what's it, E-pick or what's it called? Ebo, yeah. So, and that was cool. Anyway, so met him there and learned about this recital, and yeah, so we're gonna be doing one song. That's kind of our thing, but it's a really cool song that he wrote, so we're excited about it. All right.
Well, thanks again, guys.
Yeah.
You want to introduce people?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, thanks again to the guys. Just so everyone knows a little bit of context, Theron had emailed me like
There.
Theron emailed me like a meetup group or two ago, and he was like, "Hey, I'm working on something," and to see it from basically just starting to this took like very little time. So again, great job. And if anyone else knows anyone or has an idea they're working on like that, feel free to contact us, and we're happy to have you present to the group. In the next meetup group or whenever it's really. So what we usually do is we'll have a presenter or two. This time we had one, and then we'll try to do a big, more like a group activity. So if you guys want to, we can go around the room and introduce ourselves really quick to know what the different skill sets are in the room, and then we can do a quick group exercise, and then we'll just leave it open for networking. My name's Luis. I think most of you have been to an event or two before, so I won't go on too long, but background's in finance. working on a music startup with Alex here, who can tell you more about it in a sec. And then my day job is spent at an early stage venture capital firm in town called Startup Runner.
I'm
We'll go this
Alex.
way.
I work at Music Meets Video with Luis. My background is in design and video. Music Meets Video is basically a contest platform. We host contests, cover contests and original song contests. So we just finished up our first really big contest. It was a Taylor Swift cover contest. It was wildly successful. And yeah, so that's what we do.
I'm Mike. I code. I do music. That's about it.
Go for it.
I'm Vince. Currently, I work in data analytics at General Motors, but I just got funding for a music startup, doing a freemium distribution platform for artists with an analytics kind of upsell package. But it's more of an analytics platform than it is a distribution company. The distribution company is kind of a customer acquisition strategy, and then the analytics is basically we're combining a lot of fragmented data streams from around the web, and then combining that with the digital service providers' data that's in our distribution network, because we're a distributor as well. And then we also have kind of like you consider it like a Google Drive almost for artists, where they can store data, metadata, master recordings, videos, things like that. And so we combine all those data sources and build some pretty sophisticated analytics on top of it. And I talk about it, but I don't really have a tech guy yet. So really all we are right now is just kind of a pitch deck and an idea, and we got a little money for it, so we're gonna run with it.
Very cool.
I'm Anthony. I graduated from UT just 2014 at tech theater, automated lighting. So lights you see at ACL or anything like that, LS. And I work as a light designer down at Empire, just down the road here. During South by, it was a busy week. And as I got more busy with that, I started a production company called Electric ATX. We produce EDM shows for fraternity houses over on West Campus at UT. We bring in stage, truss, lights, PA. We have a VJ that uses VDMX and modulate, so it takes input similar to what you guys do. And yeah, it's been pretty busy and picking up. It's gonna be dead a little bit over the summer, which is good. Get more ducks in the road to be a little more finances in order for that. But yeah.
Question.
Please.
What's your perspective on their company?
Yes.
I think it's a really cool idea. The current VJ we have now uses VDMX, which is similar. I think I had a picture of it even up there. Mm-hmm. And what he does is takes an input from the console, and he'll say, he'll pick his frequencies and say at frequency, a 1 to 3K, do X action, and that's usually where vocals lie in the mix. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty reactive. And I think what is so cool about this software is that it brings in even more inputs and then customize. It seems like you could even mix and be like, guitar player controls this, drummer controls this, which that's really cool. I still think though, the human element of it is something that software cannot replace. And I mean, me running lights, I've automated lights to music before, and you automate something for a big scene, and all the strobes come on, it's huge, and the audience wants more, but you automate it for it to stop too early, and it kills the energy. And so I see benefits to both, but I think using this software could help the human element just have so much more control over what they're doing. So I think it's very cool. I'm excited to see where this goes for you guys. Thanks. Yeah.
I'm Dave. I'm a project manager for software application to the data. I spent about probably 11, 12 years as a stage manager for South by Southwest and Mass Concert Hall. That's one of the big medium-sized shows. And I'm working on apps to help live performers and stage managers make music better together.
I'm Darren Cody, and I am an electrical engineer by trade. Most recently worked at Intel, and I have my hands in a few production companies in town doing dance music shows, and also working on a few music startups. So,
go to the back.
I'm John. I also come from EE. I repair, rebuild, restore guitar amps for a living. I also work in the live audio realm, do sound at a few different clubs in town.
I'm a programmer currently working at Sparefoot. I also have an interest in music. My name is Tim, by the way.
I'm Sarah. I'm an artist for a living, and I play music. I love music, and I have an idea for a startup that's kind of a mishmash of a wiki plus LinkedIn for a local city center space, so that artists can find each other. And it's a digital platform for analog music, for finding people to play with and network with, and it's a lot of like vouching for people who are good to work with, or like a Yelp factor when you like get the clubs in and all of that kind of stuff. So and then there's a tie-in hopefully for sorry, I'm losing my train here. There's a tie-in for like classifieds and that kind of thing, as well as events. So, see how that goes. I'm not a coder, so if any of y'all want in on that, let me know.
I'm Mario. I'm actually a co-founder of an ed tech startup, but I'm also a big vinyl junkie. I really love music. I used to be a vinyl DJ back in the day. I really missed that. And I kind of feel like I want to get back into DJing, but I think I had to start all over from the beginning and learn to do it in a modern way, or just be an old school vinyl guy. But then I need help carrying crates. If you want to show up,
That's cool. People that bring in all the crates to the shows.
I miss that. Everything's in storage, collecting dust. I kind of itching to bring it out and start all over.
Well, be yourself. I vote for the OG move.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. For those of you who are new, happy to have you. For the regulars, glad to have you guys back. For this month, little group activity, we thought we'd do something a little different. We usually do kind of like pitch sessions, and then we pick the audience's brain about people presenting here. But lately, we've had the benefit of having a big-time music startup all over the news, so we thought we would do a little case study and turn it over to you guys and have a little back and forth about what everyone thinks about Tidal, which is Jay-Z's new streaming music service. So for those of you who don't know what it is, we'll do a little video of a little quick synopsis, a little quick video explaining what it is, and then we'll open it up from there. We have some questions and stuff that we can all talk about. That's it, by the way. We'll come back and show you, but that is actually Tidal as it is today.
There's the dinner list we're on.
It really looks like they just copied pasted Spotify.
Do I want to just
let's watch the video so we can see.
The videos. That's right. Okay.
How they present themselves. Take a seat.
I just thought about like how crazy this is, how this is like the beginning of the new world. This is change the course of history forever today. The final frontier. Yes, the last stand. Town hall for creativity. Yes, with the most inspired.
Every great movement started with a group of people being able to get together and really just to make a stand.
Everyone here is, that term icons, but we all at one point were in love with music. You can't make it to what we've accomplished without having that love of music be the foundation. I think it's one of the things that sets us aside from someone that's a tech company that's selling advertisement or selling hardware. Right now they're writing a story for us. We need to write the story for ourselves.
In our hands, we see that it's from us. That's what I was finding so important. It's done. This collaboration feels so egoless. Everybody's having a conversation. We really do have an opportunity to change the way we all experience art. We're going to come together and we're going to take a stand and we're going to give people quality and great things and great experiences.
We'll push the things that happen on the internet further along. This is really musicians making music, and it's about music, and there's no end game.
Maybe it sounds like a cliche, but it's about putting art back into the forefront. It's about bringing humanity back to being an artist, not technology art, human art.
Talked to a lot of different people outside of the industry, and everyone was like, what took so long? Like, this thing was the thing that everyone wanted and everyone feared. If these artists can sit in the room together, the game changes forever. And it happened today.
basically
you guys hear back there?
Yeah, you guys hear all that? That is how they presented it in this kind of marketing video, but then here's a quick and dirty explanation of what it really means.
Let me translate this for you.
This is the Samsung Experience Shop, only at Best Buy, and this is the all-new Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. It has a vivid 5.1-inch screen that looks great even in direct sunlight. The new Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge is here. Expert service, unbeatable price. Best Buy.
Here's everything you need to know about Tidal in 90 seconds. Tidal is a music subscription service for audio and video files. Like Spotify, Beats Music, Rhapsody, and Rdio, Tidal charges $9.99 per month for basic unlimited streaming. Like Beats Music, it offers no free option, only a short free trial. What sets Tidal apart is its premium option. For an extra $10 per month, it promises to deliver high-quality audio, or as they call it, lossless high-fidelity sound. This comes in the form of FLAC files, or free lossless audio codec files. That means your audio plays at a higher bitrate, specifically 1,411 kilobits per second, giving CD-quality sound. Tidal Song Library offers a selection of 25 million songs, in comparison to Spotify's 30 million. Although, with Tidal, you also get Taylor.
Hello.
Furthermore, most services play at a lower bitrate, 320 kilobits per second, compressing and altering the sound of your music slightly. Free streaming usually comes at an even lower bitrate, down to 96 or even 64 kilobits per second. Tidal does offer 320 kilobit per second audio at its $9.99 price point, but as you can see here, the $10 goes a long way. But will you notice a difference? That's not so certain. While there is an audible difference between higher and lower bit rates, you'll need high-quality gear to get the most out of the latter option. Plus, everyone's ears are different, so even with extremely nice gear, you may not be able to hear the difference. According to Tidal CEO Andy Chen, the service is not for everybody. So should you take the plunge and pay the extra $10? Probably not, unless you're a hardcore audiophile with a Lux setup at home.
That is a better explanation about what Tidal really is all about. And I want to just quickly go and take a quick look at what the actual site looks like.
I'm trying to, not the list.
I don't know what's going on there.
You guys want to hear him?
For 30 minutes? No.
Didn't their CEO quit?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Today.
Yeah.
Title's not for everyone, including me.
CEO. So that's, and I mean, somebody mentioned
so this is
earlier.
Tidal. How many of you guys have Tidal or have really looked into it at all? Just a couple of you? Okay. Well, here's the interface. I haven't actually messed around with it too much either. I just got it today. But it's, if you have Spotify, then it seems to be pretty similar. You have your playlists.
Similar icons.
Your genres. I don't know how it works with following people and listening to the music that they are playing. I don't even think it has a social element.
Like it.
Does it?
Oops, I think so.
You can like star a favorite artist that you can go back to. I don't know if you can follow people though.
So what are some, initial first reactions? We'll just open it that way.
Is that the web app? Is there a downloadable like?
There's a downloadable app. Yeah.
Is that the only way you can get the high quality, high fidelity streaming, or can you get that through the browser window?
That's a great question.
I think you can get it through this one.
You can also get it through the mobile app. It has options in the settings where you choose because when you download it, I thought I signed up for like the premium subscription, maybe 30-day free trial, and I thought I was hearing hi-fi, and I was like, my cool headphones, I was like, oh, this is great. I really don't notice a difference, but it's probably like better. And then I realized in the settings, you choose on cellular, Wi-Fi, and then offline content, and you have to specify it all comes at normal, and then you can go from normal to hi-fi. And the problem with using hi-fi is that if you're streaming it over cellular, it takes a ton of data and it takes forever to load.
Okay.
Do they still try to stream it, or do they just basically download the song like you played it?
No, well, you can do that, and you can have like an offline element. But I just use it as a streaming app. But it does eat up a ton of data, and it takes a long time if you're trying to play the hi-fi stuff.
Right.
So it buffers the song and then plays it, not the new YouTube model where it
Oh no,
tenth of a second.
It chops up. Like I'll be driving down the street and like one stoplight I'm listening to music and the next I'm not. It's like,
so I guess the first thing that popped up to me, and you guys can tell me what you think, is I first watched the first video where it was how Tidal presented it as this game-changing collaboration that's like people at one point Jay-Z literally goes, everyone has been waiting for this.
Right.
And then the reality is it's basically just a higher quality, apparently a higher quality sound compared to like YouTube or Spotify.
So do we know what's going on in the back end though? It makes it sound like it's being run by artists because I know that Spotify and Pandora pay pittance.
Right.
So if it's being run by artists, I would imagine that artists are being compensated.
Yeah, so that was my first, when I first saw the video, that was my first, I was like, oh, well, they're gonna take ownership and have better royalty payouts for the artists who sign up to be on Tidal. Apparently, so far at least, they haven't directly addressed it. It's kind of what everyone's murmuring about, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. It seems like what probably might end up happening is that Jay-Z, Daft Punk, Madonna, Jack White, they will have their own contracts where they're going to move off of whatever because they have the power, but everyone else is still under the power of their record label, and the record labels who decides the royalty rates, not the artists. Yeah, go ahead. Just shout it out.
I think something else too. Like I don't know about this process, but I know Spotify's library is quite large. Like you have a lot of independent guys that like I didn't even know that they even had access to a computer on Spotify. You know, really. So like I'm kind of concerned about the limited library that I might have here because you have to contact the label and say I want like the WAV files for you have whatever it is. You know?
Right.
You didn't see the independent artists in that.
Not at all, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's why the Tidal Rising is there, though, because that's what
that's the up and coming.
Oh, okay.
That's how they flocked.
Let's check that out.
Because they came out and said, "Look at all these high power artists, and you know we're going to pay more money." It's like, great. Well, all the people that make money on Spotify are already the high power artists that get millions of plays. So then they realized they fucked up, and they're like, they came out with this Tidal Rising like 2 or 3 days ago, where it's like, oh, now we're going to showcase independent artists, which is like. Probably would have gained more steam from that.
It's like they're just throwing them a bone, personally.
I think Spotify still kind of has the power. I mean, I don't think it's going to put the whole people, honestly. I mean,
one really good thing about it though is the curation. Like the curation is excellent. So and all the new playlists that come up, it's always like very relevant, very good. I will say it has that over Spotify.
That's a good one.
I feel like all this needs is a much more significant differentiation in the UI from Spotify. You already have big name artists saying this is way better sound quality, and like that is a very powerful statement because everybody is confused about that. Nobody knows what high quality audio sounds like. People will take this stuff and they will play it through their MacBook speakers and say, this is high fidelity audio. God damn, I am excited, right? I mean, like, and I am not kidding you. They have done double-blind tests with audio files that use those platinum wires. Those like, you know, you have those platinum sheet $1,000 RCA cables, and they did a blind test with these people, and they used those wires, normal wires, and coat hangers. And the distribution actually ended up favoring the coat hangers. I mean, it was like P.5 basically, but like ever so slightly was correlated with the coat hanger audio level. Like, and this is just a recurring issue. There is actually, so it said, I believe it said that the other services offer 320 kilobits a second. 320 kilobits a second is enough to reach what's called the Nyquist ratio of sound fidelity. So like, theoretically, it's like mathematically, it's almost impossible for a human who can only hear up to a certain frequency level to hear the difference between the audio level, like the audio quality. So like a dog could hear the difference between it, but like and there's like, there are arguments to be made, but the problem is that it's like an extremely murky area and the only people who are actually qualified to have the discussion are like scientists, right? Like not even really audiophiles.
So I mean, it's like, well, like Beats, like that was one of the selling points, right? And they got like Dr. Dre to say like, this is how I want to listen to music.
And they're not great headphones.
Exactly.
Right,
60 right up the roof.
Yeah, right.
That's
like,
what we're doing.
These is
just boost bass.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's the selling as though it's like high fidelity. So. And it works.
It's the same thing as the super high. It's like saying that tube amps are super high fidelity. What people like about tube amps is that they give you the exact sound that a tube amp gives you. They do not like the perfect representation of what comes out of a guitar. They're like, a tube amp is the perfect representation. It's like, actually, it's really far off of that, and you like it because the tube amp sounds nice by distorting the sound slightly.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly what it is.
And there's just so much, and I think that there is so much confusion about all of this in the marketplace. As like, there's so much confusion about it that what they have to do is just brand and just lie harder. Just lie as hard as
That's what I was going to ask
next.
Like, obviously, the science behind it is kind of like you said, there's really not a huge differentiator for the average person. Is anyone in the room, maybe you were, was anyone moved to be like, yeah, I want to buy it. You know, I want to pay the $20 to make sure I have that higher quality audio?
I'll say for me it was actually the opposite, right? Because like I sit in the studio several hours a week and make tunes and bounce between wave and like all these different formats, and like at 320, the amount of noise that MP3 introduces is so it's so negligible. Like I've done like negatives between files, and the noise for it is there's no difference. So it's absolutely
look at
so like when they're saying, oh yeah, this is so much better. It's like, okay, first of all, you're like quadrupling the bit rate, which is a waste of bandwidth for something that nobody can even, even a trained ear like me, like I cannot hear the difference.
Like a computer.
Even on a big sound system, I can't hear the difference.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Can your sound card even replicate?
Yeah, that's also true, dude.
Yeah,
8, 16, or 32-bit.
Yeah, my super powerful Mac Pro can't replicate that sound. You know what I mean?
So is that the play that Tidal's trying to do by trotting out all those artists? Because we just like slam beats, right? But Dr. Dre showed up and like, bam! I just took over the market because it's cool.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. We're not like they're like so Beats is like wrong in an ethical sense, but they won, right? So I'm saying this is
do you guys think if they were replicating the Beats model, will this work?
I think so. I think definitely.
I don't think it'll take over.
I think until Apple comes out with their new streaming platform, which is like why they bought Beats in the first place. It wasn't for this little app. Like this app's going away. I think the Beats app is.
I've heard rumors that the labels are trying to get them to like get rid of the freemium model and just start charging. I think there's been some push and pull between that, and this is kind of manifested.
So what they did was like they're going to announce it at the WWDC, I think whatever it is in June, their developer conference. But essentially what they did was they released 8.3, and then they released iOS 8.4 like a couple of days later, and it had this huge change of this new like built-in streaming service that's built. It's like it's built into the music app, and they released that out to testers, and they didn't really announce it or anything. But that's going to be like what they're going to.
I know that.
That's what they're going to do at their developer conference is announce like, and that's how they're going to try and beat Tidal and Spotify is have it like very tightly integrated into the phone.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I was listening to, and because of Tidal, kind of music tech has been all over. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up, but music tech kind of all over the news the last few weeks. And what an expert was saying, and I never really thought of it, was that music is slow to change, I guess. You know, moving from, let's say, analog to digital, but they said that once the change happens, it's very fast. So when Napster came out, it very rapidly killed off the CD, here at least. And so they were saying that whether it's Tidal or the new Apple thing, whatever it is, it's going to very quickly change. People are going to move away from iTunes and go right to whatever that new thing is. What do you guys think? Does that sound about right? That it's like very quick adoption for the the general.
Talking about a savior, but Spotify's been around for so long.
Yeah, the general sense that I get is that Spotify is not the same. It's going to be the bridge to whatever's next, but I don't think Spotify is going to be the doesn't seem like it at least.
It's the amount of users that come to it, so it's not the savior now, and Spotify can't even make money now.
Right.
What's going to happen though is like I think Google. The thing is, like, everybody, so everybody moved to buying digital and CDs went away, right? And now everybody's moving to streaming, and so iTunes sales are way down. And it went, so all that's going away. So the only thing that's going to help it is if they can get enough people to convert to premium streaming services.
And there's YouTube. Like, people
YouTube's a big elephant in the room.
There's some shit that happened earlier on this language again. There's some stuff that happened earlier this week. I know it because I own one of the first generation Rokus and I have the YouTube app on it, right? Yeah. They're like, we're going to deprecate our first version API. And they're starting to, and the reason is because they're starting to introduce DRM on top of that, because YouTube now making a play for their music service and their streaming service. And not Google Music, which is a failure, but
YouTube.
It's cool. I like it. They let you upload like what 500,000 songs. They announced
yeah,
they let you do that.
I have my catalog, my 50 gig catalog, and then I have my streaming service that I pay $10 a month for. It's worth it.
Do any of you use iTunes still? No?
Yeah, every once in a while.
I do kind of quasi Spotify.
One interesting thing is like the idea of building up a collection and kind of how that fits in with streaming. Because like you could compare streaming services, but if you already have your collection of all your artists and albums that you like in like favorited or whatever in your playlist,
that's true.
That's an important part in moving over.
It'll just release that this week where you can import all your playlists from like iTunes and Spotify into Tidal wherever they are. Like so if they're on RDO or wherever
That's where RDO was super cool when they had the app that you could download and just like scan your entire iTunes library and just now it's available on RDO. Yeah. That's the first thing you need to do on that stuff.
Where does MySpace fit in this? Did any of you guys use MySpace?
Yeah, somewhere over there.
I heard it's cool for music still, but I don't know.
There's a lot of new stuff that's kind of replacing it for sure. Like, I mean, I haven't touched a MySpace in 10 years.
I think MySpace has one of the coolest interfaces. I love the design of it. It just has a terrible name, MySpace, and for that reason, no one wants to use it.
I met Tom at South by like 7 years ago.
Oh yeah.
He was like rolling dude. He was like looking girls on fire.
He's actually my friend too. We're friended on MySpace.
That's my friend too.
He was my first friend.
So do you guys think that the offering that, the thing I guess is not super clear what the offering is, but do you get the sense that Tidal is going to be good for musicians and labels? Wow. I know they're kind of nebulous, and like that video is about as much as they're saying publicly. They haven't really said too much.
It's all marketing.
Yeah, I think it's good for labels. I don't think it's going to help out. I think they're trying to market to say it's going to help out the musician, but I don't believe it.
I don't think there's any way, even if you quadruple or multiply Spotify's percentage by 10, there's still no way to bridge the gap between the indie artists and the big artists. I mean, they just won't ever make enough money unless they're getting millions of streams.
The complaints I've seen about Tidal is that the artists behind it are so big that they are corporations. There's no difference between bands and
He's a business, man, not a business, man.
Yeah, but if people are saying, well, Jay-Z or Spotify, there's no difference.
Yeah, you're right.
To that point, if someone came out, and this is one of the other questions we had on there, it's like if you could create Tidal, starting from scratch, assuming you have the clout, the power, the money that the founders have, how would you do it? And related to that, would a service that made it clear and actually had like some data, some numbers, and some processes announced about getting artists paid more fairly than what they do now? This is, of course, jumping over the hurdle of the labels. Let's just pretend. Would that move you to move to that service?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm doing that on the back end.
I think it's important to note, though, that there's no money in music unless you're one of those superstars. We're all musicians. We know there's no money in it. Not capital M money.
Yeah, not real money.
Not Jay-Z money.
Right.
So I think that even if you did try to compensate artists fairly and you use that as your model and you pitch that, you wouldn't get any backers. You wouldn't get any capital invested in your company because if there's not money in it for the monsters on top. No offense.
So what if you did this model, but then you also had you did something that Bandcamp is doing? and you allowed like smaller artists to just sell their stuff more directly, could you make money doing that and like appeal to that like gap that you were talking about?
You can't buy an album on Tidal, can you? You can only stream, right?
I don't think so. I don't know, but I don't think so.
It's all about awareness, though. So how do people find those small artists' albums? That's part of
the Tidal, yeah. If you get them in through Tidal, because they can hear. So on that point, Mike, I think you brought it up earlier, is that exclusive. If Tidal, which it's been rumored, nothing's been confirmed yet, but that top line of artists, the Daft Punks, the Madonnas, they might start releasing albums exclusively on Tidal. Versus,
that got me. I was like, damn it. Why
would that move? So that Mike says yes. Would that move you off of, if your favorite artist was on one streaming service versus another? Would that cause you to jump?
Yes.
Yes. Solid
if
yes.
You could still get
it would turn me off to the service or to the artist. For sure.
So some people have suggested that it's going to be a spike in pirating, because people are going to get pissed off.
Well,
like,
you could for 1 month or 2 months of subscription, I could just buy their album.
Right? Would you not be able to buy their album and run it off?
Go to Pirate Bay. And
if you get enough people who are doing that, then you offer an exclusive service, and people want stuff that's really easy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we have music enthusiasts and technicians in this room. Like, of course we're gonna fucking pirate it, right? But I mean, we're not.
Think about the average person.
I don't think that we are the average consumer.
Yeah,
I mean, right? I mean, like, we understand what 320 kilobits per second means, and we understand like the plight of the small artist, and we're like blah 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 blah. Like, they're just like, a lot of people love these huge names, right? I mean, they're huge for a reason, right? And people love pop music. Like, it's ear candy, it's engineered. Like, you know, Justin Bieber songs are written by like 10 people. Miley Cyrus songs are written by teams of engineers, right? I mean, it's like, it's a formula for a lot of these people. And it's just, it's really popular. I don't like it. It's really popular though. I mean, and I like, you know, some of the songs, they're really great to listen to. Like, they sound great, they're ear candy, but like, I don't know if you're going to be, like, so I think they can gain enough traction by being huge and by taking over the market by being exclusive.
So their market is 16-year-olds that will buy VIP passes to emos for like an artist meeting, and they will go to the merch table and spend like $100 with their parents. That's the market that these streaming services should be going after. If they provide exclusive services, that'll be their demographic.
Is that an accurate reflection of the demographic breakdown?
No,
we're kind of speaking in general. So we don't. They haven't really said one way or another.
Make it exclusive to the experience when you're physically there, right? Go to the VIP table, you know, meet and greet and all that stuff, and then relive it on your app when you get home the next week, and then show other people how cool it was that I was here for this.
They tried to do that and failed last year, though. They went through like $2.1 million.
Who did?
It was called, actually, it's Venue now. They bought the service for like pennies on the dollar. It was called Lively. It was started by D.
Oh yeah.
They tried to do that, and they couldn't get artists. Like, all artists had to do was put a camera or like say yes to it. And then everybody who went to the show could pay money after to relive it and download it. And artists wouldn't even take the time to set it up. They were like, "No, I'm not going to do it."
And I went to they were out here in droves at last year's South by, and they spent a lot of money on marketing. So they definitely tried at least to get the word out. So if it failed, you know, they tried.
What does that have to do with exclusive album releases, though? Like on it.
Oh no, he was talking about like reliving a concert experience, maybe through, if they did something where like on Tidal you can come back and go listen to or watch the concert you went to. It's kind of like that exclusive, more of like that experience, more of an experience feel.
One thing that you just made me think of that I think, like, if Apple releases this really embedded streaming service into the next iOS, right? It's like they own the hardware and the software. Like, they could completely block Tidal, like make it a really clunky interface for their Bluetooth service or whatever.
What have you heard about or anyone? What do we know about this new Apple It's streaming. So I don't
just
know
like
nothing about it.
it's like the music application on your phone, right? It's just that embedded, and it's very.
And it's going to be
It's
like
a partnership
Spotify.
with Jimmy Ive and Dr. Dre too.
Okay.
And that's what I thought Beats was to
Got
get
it.
Jimmy.
Yeah, and that could be the big. That could kill all of this. If everyone who has an iPhone is like, yeah, I'm just going to do the Apple one.
Well, the problem is, what if they put some little thing into 8.4, 8.5 that like messes up the Bluetooth when, if you press play, you lock your phone, it's playing, and then you bring it back up, and somehow it's not connected anymore.
True, yeah.
It's like they could do any little thing they want because they own the hardware and the software.
They have all the power, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's the Apple market share of phones?
I think it's over 50 or 60.
It depends. In the U.S., it's different than international, but in the U.S. it's quite a bit.
That's why we should all just buy vinyl.
That's the way music
No, I actually read something the other day that said that one of the reasons why vinyl sales keep going up every single year is because old people like me, we're nostalgic for that sound, but that for young people, it's a new way of listening to
They
music.
can position it
Because
directly.
when they were growing up,
against something like this,
for younger people, they didn't listen to vinyl in high school. Now you get a little older, you have a job, you have money, you say, wow, vinyl's a new way to listen to music.
Yeah.
So two different types of people are buying it.
My dad's on vinyl. I wouldn't have thought somebody would do that 5 years ago,
It's more exclusive.
Yeah. You know what? I'll stream the hell out of everything, but if I really love something, then I'm gonna go spend $40 on the vinyl, even though I'm listening to it in the car or at home. But I want the physical media. There's just something about flipping it.
You don't have a record player in your car?
Write that down. I really like the vinyl records. It also has the digital download that comes.
Yes, when it has that,
and then I can also take it on the go.
Yeah, that's totally.
Alright, so I guess we'll do two.
I know back on the iOS versus Google with market share. Google phones, Android phones actually have a larger market share on them. But what they find is people who have iPhones spend more money.
Yeah. So I kind of deviated from the question before. If we could, as a group, build title in our own, what would we do, basically? How would we build it?
I don't know. I guess I would take a swag at trying to make it more indie friendly.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean that would be the first thing on my mind. But it's like you kind of, in order to be competitive, you gotta have that brand. You gotta have something exclusive or somebody exclusive to be a figurehead if you want a big enough mass of people to migrate to what you're selling.
So it seems to that point, title did it right. Like getting a good face in front of it.
Yeah.
Check. Title
So they have
sure.
the artist endorsements, and they talked all about the musician, right? And then, like you said, they just released Tidal Rising because of the backlash. So, I think if they took something that was more like SoundCloud or Bandcamp, where people could upload their own things that were small and sell directly in addition, and just host that streaming and not make too much money off of that. But then they have some clout in saying,
give them legitimacy.
We're for every musician, and we really are about the music, and then there couldn't be any backlash. And then the hope, I guess, is that they get a big enough market share after that they can support doing all of that for free, basically.
I think it's really interesting, the line between who is like a pop artist or popular artist and who is independent. It's not real clear. You listen to the radio, and the difference between independent radio and the pop station is pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
It's the same pop garbage that has been engineered to sound a little bit different, and people eat it up.
Yeah. You're completely right. During South by, they had Perez Hilton did a showcase, and everyone thought it was going to be top 40 pop, but it was Miss Mister and these indie bands that are just exactly what you said, which is it's pop, it's just branded a little differently.
Yeah.
So that's a really excellent point too, which is how do we define indie?
Where do you put Gautier? Where do you put Lord?
Yeah,
pop.
I put them in pop.
You put them in pop, but they're all over public radio. They're all over these, independent sorts of spaces. Drives me nuts.
I would put Lord out of the mainstream pop realm, but I think her next album is going to be so engineered and so mastered that it will be completely everything that you hear right now.
And then maybe like, you know, other artists who are like established and have been around for a long time, but people just don't, not everybody knows who they are, you know, like, I don't know, Steve Earle, you know, like, you know, you and I know who Steve Earle is, but somebody else doesn't, you know, and he's a mainstay. So do you put him with the greats? Do you put him, you know?
That's a great question. Yeah, I don't know the answer. Yeah.
I like to think that Mike has a really good idea combining the SoundCloud, Bandcamp business model with the streaming model. Bandcamp makes so much money, just a small percentage, and even the smallest, most, you know, like a star in the world, like no one knows about them, they still get a few downloads, and it's like the same as, so Amazon Book Publishing makes 50% of their profits off one-off downloads. And it's like the one person who put up their book is downloading it on their Kindle, or their family member is downloading it on their Kindle. And I think that's similar to the Bandcamp model, where there's like maybe 1 or 2 downloads. But if you multiply that by X, you know, amount, that scales.
And then you put charts on your front page. You just put your top
trending or who to look out for. In my mind, I feel like that model you just described is both gives them like kind of like the legitimacy that they're kind of missing, because people are like, are you guys just trying to make more money for yourselves? Mm-hmm. And it kind of eliminates that. And for them, I feel like it's easy revenue for not a lot of work.
Yeah,
like the artist uploads it themselves, their family members goes and downloads it, you get a little cut, the artist gets a cut, everyone's kind of happy, right?
And Jay-Z gets to open it up and say, okay, what artist do I want to bring under my wing?
And you can find, it's also a talent pool right there. So I think that's one of the moves that they should do.
But Bandcamp's kind of already doing that now, right? They just don't.
Yeah, but they don't have they don't have it in a like title, like an easy. Well, Bandcamp's an easy place to go, but everyone in this room is more of like a Bandcamp type versus think about the average person on the street.
If you're on a streaming service,
why would you buy anything on a streaming service?
Yeah, that's what credit card's already in it.
That's that's the challenge. Why buy when you can stream?
For the end user, I'm not sure, but for the Jay-Z, just like throw it up.
Just call it like Title Indie or something. And like talk about supporting these small artists, and then
that's kind of like what I'm trying to do is like, if you're a small artist, you can come to me. I'll get you on Tidal for free, Spotify for free, iTunes for free, all those places for free, and you keep 100% of all the royalties that you generate on those platforms.
All 7 cents though.
Well, it's like 7,000 of the 7,000.
Maybe that was Pandora.
Wanted to clarify
that. How's that better than like DistroKid or something like that, where they do that already for you? Like, what difference? What would you differentiate in like that and then versus what you're offering?
Well, because they might get it, they might put it there for free in the beginning, but they're going to take like 15% of the royalties that get generated, or whatever it may be. So they all have their little gimmick. And then on the back end, like we're more, like I said, an analytics company that's combining all these fragmented sources, and it's doing like a live marketing mix. So it's saying like, instead of if you're a record executive and you're saying like, I need to, the album was released 3 weeks ago, so I need to be putting money to this marketing stream, and this promotion stream. It's like, we can tell you that in real time exactly where you need to go in the locations.
That's cool, yeah.
I wonder if there could be some sort of hybrid, like for-profit / non-profit model to something like this, because all those names that were on stage there, like collectively, they're worth billions and billions of dollars. So they want more money, but they don't need more money. But they could use their brand to say like, hey, yeah, so we make a little bit of money off of this, but the reason why we put it together is to help indie artists.
I think that's an easy answer,
And part of us is non-profit-y, and that's how we help the small people. And suddenly, people like the people in this room think like,
it doesn't even have to be non-profit.
So I'm not just giving $20 to Jay-Z and all these other people. I'm giving my money, at least a portion of it, maybe 10 of those dollars are going to small artist development, indie band promotion, things like that. And then you promote it that way, and then maybe we'd be willing to spend $20. Like, oh yeah, and it's cool that it's also better quality music. I don't know, is anybody doing that, like a hybrid that yes, we're making money off?
So when I first saw that commercial, that's what I thought they were going to say. That it was like, we're going to make $20 a month from you, and X% is like a rev share that we kick back to the artists that are in our platform. That's what I thought they were going to say. It hasn't happened yet. But to that point, their CEO quit last week, which I don't know what that means, but
and like 20 other people.
Yeah, they had a little turnover thing. So I don't know if that means that
They probably all made bank during that acquisition.
I'm sure they did. Yeah, I'm sure they
Coming
did.
up, baby. See ya.
But as far as like we're concerned, I don't know if that means that, you know, I feel like at least Jay-Z's a very savvy businessman, and so he knows that the crowd, like the public, is kind of like, and maybe he knows that he needs to move to what you're saying, or to promote independent music, to have a fair equity split or revenue split or whatever it is. It kind of sounds like maybe that's what's going on, but I don't know. Final question: would you invest in Tidal?
As it exists.
As it exists today, we don't know because we don't have access to what.
Is it a public company or is it like
as a startup? As a startup.
Okay. As a startup.
Yeah.
This is before the big names are on?
Yeah, exactly.
No. As it is right, like today, like let's say.
At the
I think it's like too big to fail, sort of.
As it is today, yeah. It's taking all the valuation, the team, the turnover, everything as it is now. The public, not easiness.
Releases their streaming service and YouTube and whatever. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
If I could afford to lose it, maybe I probably would, because like you said, Jay-Z's a pretty savvy businessman, and he has a team behind him probably helping him make his decisions. He doesn't fail often, and if he does, he picks up the pieces and figures out how to make money another way. And with all those people on stage, I mean, Kanye also makes a shitload of money with his different ventures, and like all those people, yeah, I think that they'll figure it out one way or another. So I was okay with losing a little bit of money in case they didn't. This would be the first time all those people couldn't figure it out. Yeah, I'd invest in it.
To speak to that, I would say Jay-Z is really good at making money for Jay-Z, and Kanye is really good at making money for Kanye, and I don't think I would trust them to make money for me.
Is there like a cool factor that would make you want to invest? Like these 10 gigantic artists are.
Absolutely, that's how they got investment in the first place. That's how I found investment. Everybody wants to be in the music industry. Everybody thinks it's cool.
Would that be enough for you?
The people in this room, it doesn't work for, but for the general public, it totally works. And that's what they're banking on.
Venture capitalists, like in Houston or something, who've been in the oil and gas industry their whole life, and now they have this cool opportunity to get in the music industry with some of the biggest names in the business, and they're like an owner of the company. There's absolutely a cool fact.
That exemplifies Austin.
That
is Austin. Billionaire like oil kids coming in the 80s, buying up all of our clubs, and that exemplifies exactly what we are.
And I think, to your point, like the VC does not know who, whatever indie band that we listen to is, but they know who Jay-Z and Kanye is. Jay-Z and Kanye are, so. Anyways, that was a little case study on Tidal. But I think it's super interesting. We'll keep an eye out for it, especially, I guess, once they announce who their new team's going to be, and we'll keep an eye on it and see how it goes. But that's it. The rest of the time is for networking. I don't even know what time it is. Like we have a few minutes. Yeah.
8:30.
Yeah.
8:30.
I can't see. Yeah, that's glare. But that's it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, of course. Music.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you put on some Tidal? One of their playlists.
Taylor Swift.
Dinner music.
We can't listen to Taylor Swift anywhere else but that.
I want to hear that
I want to hear how I want to be like I'm in the stadium.
What are you guys curious what media is?
Yeah, what the hell's media?
Television commercials.
Oh, soundtracks. That makes sense.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna like start up
History. What?
Charts.
What's history?
Charts, that'll be top 40, yeah. Quarter 1, 2015 quarterly report.
What a terrible name.
Wait, is that the music they play in the background when you're waiting on the conference call?
Yes. Hopefully.
So if you click outside of the play box, but still in that box, still in the quarterly.
Hey, I like this song.
It'll bring up like the whole playlist.
Wait,
If we what?
If you click, don't click the play button, but click in the box still. Oh, that's cool. It should bring up the whole playlist.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry.
It's not bad. Like, there's definitely some stuff in it that are good. So these are like the most popular songs of the last quarter, or the trending up songs.
Yeah. They had like D'Angelo, the Vanguard.
You guys know this guy?
Nope.
Mari?
It's all over the place though, huh? 'Cause it's got Kendrick Lamar too.
Yeah.
That's cool. And West Coast.
The band Trash title is
They got some really bad press from Mumford.
I get the sense that they're clustering up is not wonderful for this setting. They're probably going for like how
the third out big nets.
You guys know this guy, Tobias Jr.?
Tobias
The song's called I Just Blew Myself. Okay, well, y'all can do whatever you stop watching. Please stop watching. Let me go through this. Alright, we're gonna do guests.
Robinson Cano.
Athlete playlist.
So these guys are saying that Parallel, because we were from one of the meetups, we had a guy who came here and he said that the startup he's working on is you can sign up and listen to exactly what Sean White is listening to right now. If Tidal can do that, where it's like what is John listening to right now, then that'd be a cool little feature to add.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Is that good for you guys? That's not perfect.
It's like, what are you listening to?